Hello and welcome everyone to episode 52 of GuildGab. This is a show all about everything Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns. Today we're going to be talking about some Scrapper feedback. We learned more about it on Points of Interest, as well as some Druid speculation. We got our concept art on Monday, but we haven't gotten a blog post yet. So I guess it's just still kind of up to speculation what the Druid is all about. And we have a full lineup the next 2 days of Twitchcon. Guild Wars 2 is going to have a huge amount of content on Twitch the next couple days, so we're going to speculate on that. But first, let me introduce everyone. I am AuroraPeachy, and my wonderful co-hosts are MMO Inks, RPG Shack,
Sup?
Akasaurus Rex, and Corvus Plays. Was that your princess wave?
Sultry voice of Corvus.
Hello, my adoring friends.
He will scintillate and titillate you all night long.
It's okay. I know that's why people tune in, is to see Corvus.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I didn't want to
It's
say.
because he's Scottish. It's because he's Scottish. It's a Scottish accent, man. Pump it. Pump the accent. Oh,
No.
that sounded bad. That sounded bad, yeah.
All right, so let's start right off with the Scrapper. So we got a full Points of Interest showing off the Scrapper, and we actually got a forum post kind of clarifying a couple things as well, because I know there were some things that people were a little bit confused about. So what did you guys think about the extended look at the Scrapper? Anything that stuck out as...
My main concern is how the gyros are going to work. Just in terms of, you know, how their health pool, how big their health pool is, how long the duration. I mean, I know Hugh, not Hugh. I've forgotten his name. The chap who's been working on it said they've got a 15-second fuel duration or something. But it's really weird that they don't. To me, they just didn't seem to have that much utility. The hammer looked pretty cool, but I can't see the gyros making a big impact on the game.
Very situational, I think they are. I heard someone say that they're going to be excellent at holding points in PvP because you've got that tankiness, you've got like the Condi clear. But, yeah, I was kind of hoping for more of a, like, I want them to be my minions. I wanted them to, like, shoot laser beams and attack my enemies, and
totally.
not so much.
In some ways they are, but like you guys are saying, with the exception of maybe two of them, the Bulwark and the Sneak, most of them are very situational. So the problem with that is, and situational utilities are not a bad thing. It just means that they won't ever be the star of the show. You're going to be switching them in and out depending on the situation that you're in. And for many players, or for a good deal of players, my guess would be that they don't switch utilities that often depending on the encounter. If they're running around in the open world, they run a fairly static build that's always the same. And so some of these gyros won't see quite the same love as other utilities that are more universally acceptable. I think the Bulwark has a place. You know, some people argue about the amount of health that has, but remember, it's going to absorb that hit at least one time for you. And in a raid scenario, I think that could be extremely useful, extremely important. That's one of the more better ones. More better is not a word, but that's one of the better ones in my opinion. Now, the Sneak Gyro has some uses, definitely big uses in World vs. World. That will definitely see some play, I think. The problem I have with the Sneak Gyro is the fact, and this is true for all of them in some regards, is that the AI seems to be too slow. It doesn't react nearly fast enough. So if you're running along, you can easily outpace, without swiftness, without any kind of boost, you can easily outpace that Sneak Gyro, and then you've already gotten ahead of yourself. And in a PvE situation, in a dungeon situation, you would think that that would be a good thing, but then the enemies are going to attack the Sneak Gyro, so it defeats the whole purpose of being stealthed in that situation. It ruins that situation.
Am I correct in thinking that even though you're stealth, the gyro is not?
Yeah, the gyro.
Unless you're running two... Yeah, unless you're running two scrappers, and then you're wasting extra sneak slots, or stealth slots rather, yeah, that stealth gyro or the sneak gyro is just sitting out there in the open. So in PvE, not nearly as great. Now you can stack a little bit of stealth up and then run for it, but thieves are just going to still do that better. So it's not really a good replacement or alternative in that situation.
They were saying with like the whole like thing about how it like making your like party or whatever like invisible but still being visible, the gyro. They said that it was like, well, the good thing about it is that the enemy can't tell how many people you have. So that's, I guess, what their positive point on that was, because like people are like, well, how can it be stealth if you can actually see the little thing that'll tell you
again,
we're
it's
here,
kind of,
and they say, but you can't tell how many. So,
but it's kind of like what we were saying last week, where we weren't really sure whether it was going to be, like we were talking about how it's going to be great for PvP and it'll be cool for every world and stuff like that, but just running around the world, are you really going to be using them, do you think? In Heart of Thorns, just kind of general open world stuff? I mean, there's potentially uses, of course. We don't know what the open world stuff's going to be like, and we don't know how intense it's going to be. We don't know what, you know, maybe the sneak one you won't use the stealth, but using the mass reveal thing might be useful if there's stealthed enemies in the new zones, that kind of thing. So,
absolutely.
But it's kind of, I think at this point, like it's way more of a utility kind of specialization, used for specific kind of reasons and in specific encounters, and it'll work well in PvP, I think. But I think it's going to be one of those things you tap into, you know, for a specific boss fight or a specific run before a boss fight, that kind of thing. But I have no idea. We just have to kind of wait and see what the content is. Like a lot of these specializations, it's kind of, they're giving us this thing and they're kind of, we need to see how the content actually kind of tailors to the mechanics of, you know, the specializations and things like that. Yeah. I'm still not super interested, to be honest.
I mean, I'm extremely interested. I think the traits, there's at least 2 different clear builds that you can make with the Scrapper trait line. Those seem extremely interesting to me. The hammer seems like a really good weapon. And the gyros, you know, are situational, but you know, like me and Brazil were talking about the Shredder gyro and how he doesn't seem overly that impressive. There's definitely tweaks that need to be made to that specific gyro, but if you think about the constant blast finishers that you have access to, and this doesn't include being in a party or something, but there is a ton. I think it was like he sent out something like 24 finishers at a time, like 24 whirl bolts. So there is some play there. There's some really great play for PvE, but you need to position him correctly and you know, hope that he makes it his 15 seconds so that he can really do that much damage. Like everybody's saying, they're very situational. The heal skill, I think, is, they even upped the heal skill already. He was saying that it's 4.5k immediate health or something like that. Healing turret's just better. I mean, I don't really know how else to address that. It's not going to be any different in a lot of situations.
To be fair, the Purge gyro seems pretty decent. It's something that the engineers needed for a while, the ability to kind of just a straight up condition clear without, you know, chucking a whole ton of extra stuff on it, because I think one of the elixirs does that, and I think it is the elixir gun you can, the skill 5, I think, chucks out a condition clear as well. But it's nice to see a little bit more support utility as well, even if it is just an extra draw. If you're running a support guardian, I can see that Purge being a fairly mainstay one on your bar.
See, I don't know. You're relying too much on the AI there. I don't particularly love that idea. You know, people are saying that utilities and elites are situational. Yeah, it's true for everything, but we're talking about not everybody plays where they, you know, everything is situational, but not everybody plays in those situational conditions. So if you're looking at it as just a strong build that you're not going to change up too much variation on, you should be. Like I put a ranger pet guide up today that it's just, pets are the same way as utilities. You should be changing the pet depending on the situation you find yourself in as a ranger. Utilities are the same way. Guardians especially change their utilities a lot depending on the situations they find themselves in, the dungeons, walls of reflect, etc. but not everybody plays that way. And so when someone who doesn't play that way looks at this class, they're going to say, well, flying sandwiches aren't that impressive, to be quite honest. However, the traits, the hammer, all that stuff certainly makes up for it. The special skill and such, I think, is fantastic. Scrapper definitely has a huge place in the game. I just question some of the uses of the gyros in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already making changes to it as well.
Yeah. Expect big changes to gyros.
And hopefully, we know that we don't have a beta this weekend, but hopefully next weekend, after we finally have all 9 special elite specs, hopefully next weekend, there's gotta be a beta.
That's 3 weeks until launch.
There has to.
So, what did you guys think about the hammer skills?
Those are freaking amazing.
When they
Especially
demoed
like the rocket one, where you're like jumping through 3 different targets. It's like, oh my god. And then there's like one where like you like stick out your hammer to like blast things. I think at least 2 of them. There's the one where you stick it right out in front, and I think that's like a defensive shield. And that looked amazing. And then the one where you actually call down the lightning like Thor, and that was just like, oh god, yeah, that was pretty.
From what I've read, they've Reno, that's his name. They've already upped the damage quite significantly on the hammer as well, which is good, because that was one of the things that I was looking at on the video, and I was looking at it, I was like, that doesn't seem to do a great deal of damage, even though you're only smacking mooses in the face. I expected a little bit more from it, so it is quite good to see that the damage has been up. But there was also a very good point made in the forums as well, that not everything can be the highest DPS in the game, so they're not going to just chuck the numbers right up to be there with, Great Sword 2 or whatever. But it looked really cool, and what I did kind of like was the rocket jump on the on the hammer. It's got a very similar tactic to the unrelenting assault on Revenant's sword. So even if there's no people within range after you first hit your enemy, I think you just jump around them and keep smacking them with more rockets. Even if I think there is a utility that you are able to use it as a single target thing rather than just carving through non-existent enemies and wasting.
I know, like, it sounds like, because we're talking about gyros a lot, it sounds like we're down on the scrapper. I'm not down on the scrapper at all. I think it's amazing. I can't wait. I think in raids it's really, really going to shine in a raid setting, so that has me extremely excited for my NG. And it's going to give me a very different way to play the engineer. I can be more in melee and less at ranged, or I can still use something like grenades, which I'm sure a lot of people will, to do my range damage and still have a strong melee presence as well. So that's pretty exciting, because that's not how you would normally play engineer for the most part.
Absolutely. I mean, previously the only real melee capability that the engineers had is the toolkit, and one of those skills is an AoE drop.
Yeah.
And like,
so what do we think? What do we think about Druid?
Awesome.
That's
Druid.
Worst segue ever, but it's okay.
Corvus,
there's no segueing away from scrapper.
That's down to you, man.
All right.
All right. It's a scrapper. It just explodes.
Just have to scrap
I
it.
see. I keep this little text box open.
Oh gosh. So yeah, we don't have anything really but the concept art here. Now I do know that there was some stuff data mined. We're not going to talk about data mine stuff because of course none of that is confirmed. And to be honest, I haven't seen it, and I didn't want to see it. So speculation. What do we want for Druid?
Dinosaur pets.
Dinosaur pets. I do think we're going to get new pets.
Dinosaur pets will
We have to get new pets. You have to.
It happened in factions, and it happened in Nightfall and Either North. So
right. Now, whether they're going to be Druid exclusive pets, I don't know.
That would be cool, I think.
What if you have to be a druid to use the dinosaur pet?
I don't think that would work, because the way that every elite specialization has worked so far is that the first minor gives you access to the druid's your specialization skills, your specialization weapon. So I think to have a selection of pets, or essentially combat companions phased out because they're not a particular because of a particular class distinction, it seems kind of arbitrary. I mean, pets do kind of one of a handful of things. They either damage, they support, or they put conditions. And there's a couple that taunt as well. I mean, like Ink said, he put a pet guide up today. So having a gate for what will probably be purely cosmetic aspects with a few different abilities, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Do you think they did it?
Here's the first thing. Some people are saying about removing pets. You cannot remove ranger pets.
What?
There's a long Reddit post on why you cannot do it. There is too many traits, there's too many mechanics that involve the pet. You would have to scrap half, no pun intended.
Yeah.
You would have to scrap half of the ranger itself in order to remove the pet from the equation. It's not going to happen, and I would say that the F skills are not going to change at all. We might get like an F5 skill. That would be kind of weird. But just like the Daredevil, just like the Scrapper, I think that the intended mechanic change is not going to involve your F skills at all. It's going to be some extra thing for the Ranger itself.
Yeah.
The only F skill that needs to change on Ranger is that we need to get an F5 so we can use that
Stow
for passive
forever.
and aggressive.
Stow forever.
Stow.
Kill your pet.
Stow forever. I mean, I'm sure we've come back to this time and time again. It's crap Rangers give Rangers a bad name, and it is not hard to be a good Ranger in Guild Wars 2.
I love Ranger, and I think I do fairly well, and I suck. So
It's not hard to be a good Ranger. The two key things you need to do to be a halfway decent Ranger is put your pet on passive all the time, and do not press 4 when you have your longbow equipped. That is it. That is literally everything.
You would become a much better Ranger if you did those things. You don't.
Yeah.
There's exceptions to the rule, but let's just ignore the exceptions. Stop doing those things, and you're already better than 50% of the barebows running around in open world. So you're a leg up on the competition.
But Inks is absolutely right that there's a whole bunch of. I mean, we've even got a trait line called Beast Mastery, and that's pretty important, even to the full non-pet specific DPS build that I run. That you just can't take these things out, otherwise you essentially cripple the class.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, we're all painfully aware that the AI needs tuning. It needs to be better than it already is. All Rangers already know this. If you play Ranger for any given amount of time, you're going to question what the hell your pet is doing. Why is he running across the field when he should be running right in front of you? Or why did he, run 50 yards out and then sprint all the way back to the fight? Who knows? It's a pet. It does what it wants. But
do you think that they could be completely reworking the pet UI, and that's why the Druid is last?
It seems like they hit
Possibly,
some kind of hurdle, right? Like it seems like it was. I don't know. It just seems a bit late, and so I don't know. But it's weird because I personally find like the Ranger kind of F skills kind of clunky at the moment and kind of a bit so I don't know how much they could rework it though. Like it's so, I don't know, stuck in Ranger. Like they couldn't remove it. They're not going to remove pets or anything stupid like that. But how much they could rework it for a specialization is, I don't know. I mean, they could add an F5, which would be weird, and I don't know what it
do.
Yeah, what could it do? So it's strange. I honestly don't know with the Druid.
Well, the Druid needs a whole new mechanic, right? Every one of the elites, some are more pronounced than others, but they all have like another mechanic to the class.
There was some discussion that druids would get shape-shifting, but I personally don't think that's going to happen because that is the entire non-elite set of skills.
Right.
But what I think would be kind of interesting is because a druid is supposed to be very, one with nature, talks to the animals. If there was some kind of symbiosis mechanic set up with your pet, it puts a bit more emphasis on the ranger-pet relationship where you can, maybe sacrifice some of your health to restore your pet's health. Maybe even some channeled abilities or utility skills that you can use to temporarily buff your pet to do a particular type of damage or something like that. Something that really kind of promotes that one with nature kind of thing, even if it's kind of manipulation of nearby plants or nearby rocks or whatever, and melding the environment to become a damage
What if the pet type that you're currently using affects your utility skills? So then you have a utility skill swap, because if you have a wolf and like something from the wolf line and then something from like the cat, then like each of those would have different utility skills and possibly even different elites. And I know that would be a lot of skills, but
yeah, I was thinking that.
What if it would be a lot? Maybe that's why it's taking so long. Maybe the druid just has tons of skills, and it depends on the pets that you have. And like you said, this symbiosis with your pet.
Well, it'd be kind of similar to the Revenant in terms of the utility swapping and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Can we talk about the kind of data mining thing? Not like the heavy recent anything, but like just a while back there was the idea of them getting aspects.
What exactly
whatever that could be.
Right, what exactly would that mean?
Well, there was some traits or something that were describing getting things when you swap aspects. And so everyone was kind of like, oh, maybe it's kind of like an elementalist attunement type thing. The only time really that we've heard aspects in Guild Wars 2 has been with the Zephyrite, so that's a whole other thing. But I don't know.
Sorry.
But the idea though that the utility thing, like unless it was down to like a pet type or something, like all of your kind of dog, wolfy kind of things would give you these utilities, and then the more like birds would give you another set. So it isn't like every single animal has a completely different set. I don't know.
If you are using
quite a lot of skills,
yeah,
with like the idea like this as far as what those aspects could be, because I find it kind of fascinating, because when I'm watching like Rangers in Guild Wars 2, because I'm also playing other MMOs, I find it fascinating the similarities and differences between, say, like Hunters and WoW, for instance. And now it's like both are having things that some has this, and they're both kind of going like this. Especially with like the huge changes that are coming to the Hunter class there compared to what we're talking about here. Because like the Hunters there have aspects of different animals, and they just give you different kinds of buffs. And I would hope that they'd be more than that for Rangers in Guild Wars 2. Like if you take the aspect of like the Saurians that are in Maguma, because that's like the actual name Saurian for the dino plant thingies, and or just any number of any kind of animals you can get like special abilities. And I mean, like, I can totally understand how the shape-shifting thing is a very Norn thing, but I still don't think that means that could negate the ability for other classes to have some shape-shifting abilities, because they already technically, like the Necromancer elite, and especially with Death Shroud, you are technically transforming or shape-shifting into something. So
well, a lot of classes do have that kind of.
I think those things could happen. Just
I mean,
that's true.
One of the
things
one
like
of the big
Death
things
Shroud and Plague though are kind of useful, and the non-elite skills suck. Essentially,
well, they're racial skills. They're meant to suck.
Yeah, and I think that's
so much fun.
Like,
but that's true. It could be shape-shifting, but not shape-shifting into an animal. You're not becoming the raven or becoming the wolf. You're kind of maybe taking on, like, the spirit of them or something.
Interestingly, humans have a we technically do have a shift. We have the avatar of Melandru.
Yeah, you have the avatar of the gods. That's true.
Yeah.
Avatar of Grenth transforms you.
Yeah.
Well, there's the for Malix, isn't it? The legend for the Revenants. His elite changes actually does change your form into a sort of you're taking
You are
on
like this demon.
bits of
yeah,
him.
Yeah, so there is
like,
parts of that in a lot of classes, so or a lot of
I mean,
professions.
because stuff like that for druids would be really fun and cool. Because like you're not full on becoming a different species, as it were, but you're taking on the bits and pieces to kind of highlight it, like just with like Alex, what you're talking about with like greater symbiosis with either your pet or the environment. You know, doing stuff like that of the druid taking on those aspects, getting barkier or something.
I don't, we've got a lot of lore just in the franchise of druids, and this kind of separate idea. It's not like your D&D or WoW kind of druid stuff, which are more shapeshifty.
Right.
In Guild Wars, it's, you know, this whole story of these people who go to the jungle and kind of transcend and become one with nature, that kind of thing. And so I'd really hope they tie it into the kind of lore that they've already set up. I don't want it to just be like a generic fantasy word or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not too sure how that kind of idea could influence the design of the specialization. I guess just, yeah, different aspects of nature, like, you know, kind of becoming one with it. Kind of like what you were saying, like, I don't know, your skin gets harder and your toughness is increased, or, I don't know, like, using the kind of nature around you.
It seems like that just means that, it gives me a buff.
Yeah,
And I would think it'd be
that's-
more exciting
why,
than that.
Well, that's why I'm
Buffy.
really curious, and why I'm actually, I don't particularly like Ranger that much, and but I've made one, and I'm leveling it to 80 because there's so much potential with what they can do with the Druid, and
Right.
I'm really curious, and I have no idea, really, like, I've not got any kind of inclination of where they could take it, really, and where they might be. It's just, I'm just having to wait and see, and I'm really excited because it could be something really
Like
cool.
in many ways, swapping spirit attunements or some kind of attunements works. The question is, how do you swap attunements? You can't get rid of the pet bar. We've already discussed why you cannot get rid of the pet. So how do you swap attunements? It can't be like
Yeah.
Ellie, where you go F1 to whatever. So how does that work? Exactly.
Do you reckon we could see a similar system to how the spirits work and just how some of the herald's facets work? That you have, you attune to a particular. Let's just use attune for the sake of argument. You attune to a particular facet of nature or whatever, and you have a flip over skill. So you know,
That's
like,
interesting. That's cool. I like that idea.
I mean,
I just
because
really
we have just for example the sun spirit. It provides. I
Right.
have no idea what it does, but
Burning.
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 Yeah, no,
burning
it's,
does, yeah, burn.
is it does it automatically apply burning? But then when you solar flare it, it just burns enemies on top of that.
It like blinds it, I think, doesn't it? When
Do you know what?
like,
I can't remember
so-
for the life.
I don't want to
But
say
yeah.
because I don't remember the exact skill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, because
But it
like
applies
those
burning.
abilities were always one of my favorites. It's just that, just like Corvus, what you're saying, there's so much potential they could do with the idea of summoning these little spirit dude things that can make it way more interesting and cool. And like I'm really hoping that the staff gets some really flashy, kaboomy boomy things on there. Like I want freaking laser beams coming out of my staff, like.
Well, we saw
Sharks with
one.
laser beams, you know. I want.
We saw the one in the trailer with like I don't remember if it was a beam or something, but like the druid like pointed the staff and then like all these vines came up
Vine
in the
tremors.
ground that went towards the enemy.
Hasn't that been fairly drastically reworked?
Yes.
Well, at this point,
Supposedly.
it could be anything.
Yeah. I mean, what do we expect the staff to do? Do we expect, because we've got the Daredevil staff and we've got the Revenant staff at the moment. So that's three new. So this is going to be the third new set of staff skills that we're going to have.
Right.
So
And-
ranged support weapon.
Do you guys think it would be more like offensive or like more supporty-ish
Support.
for the druid
Yeah.
with the
I
staff?
think the class in general. I think druid
abilities
in
would be
general
more
is going to be
supporty?
rather support driven
It makes
for the
sense.
most part.
Yeah.
I think so.
And it makes a lot more sense for raids as well. When you start to sit and think about it, I think that the staff is going to have mobilizes or cripples, roots, bleeds on it.
I was thinking that kind of thing.
It's going to have, if that skill still exists, that vine skill, that's probably a cascading skill. So it probably does more damage or cripples you more or something like that as it shoots out. It's rather, I mean, that skill itself looked rather slow to begin with. The range on it will probably be very good to keep in
1500
line
range is supremacy.
I don't know about 1500 range. That might be a bit crazy for a staff, but certainly it's going to have a very good range on it, 1200 range more than likely, and be very supporty.
Yeah, I mean that it's when we saw the launch trailer, and then when we finally got our hands on the Revenant, I think there's certainly some comparisons that you could make between the auto Revenant attack and kind of what we were seeing there. So I think absolutely, if that, it would be kind of weird. So just to have something like that come out on an auto attack. So again, maybe we're talking about a 3 skill chain. So the final one is like a flip over skill, and it roots for a couple of seconds or something like that.
I could see maybe, I don't know how overpowered this would be. Maybe weakness. Let's be honest, it's probably just vulnerability. Everything freaking applies vulnerability. It's probably just vulnerability or something like that. Weakness would be really cool as well, though, because you don't see it nearly as much. The whole holding the staff and shooting it like the Elementalist does, that's a number 2 or number 3 skill more than likely.
Yeah.
So
I think that's something they've got to be very careful of, because a lot of what we've been suggesting is it's essentially a nature elementalist, isn't it? A lot of kind of what we've been tiptoeing around when we're talking about this, and they're really gonna cool. It's cool, but there's no point to it.
That's why it has to have some other mechanic. There has to be a unique mechanic.
Yeah, that's my point.
Class.
I mean, if Elementalist was bad, then maybe it'd be okay because it could be a cool alternative or something else. But let's be real, like Elementalist is kind of
so it's like why would you play Druid over Elementalist? So it can't just be a nature Elementalist. It's got to do something else, and the pets have got to get smarter because we know it's going to use pets.
Oh god, better pet integration.
I love in chat. Lugo said, "What if the Druid gets an F5 skill that lets you summon both of your pets at once for a limited time?"
See, that'd be cool, and they could do like a big double attack.
Early on, they had that. In
Guild they could do like a stampede ability, where they could just like send in like.
That would be cool, actually. If you have like a spider out, and then it has F5, it'd be like a stampede of spiders come and just swarm your enemy, or wolves, which like actually. Birds. That would be actually be really cool.
Because like actually, that's an ability that you can do on your hunters in a WoW, and it is extremely fun when you have like 6 Triceratops thingies. Just something go. It's like, it's pretty fun. So it's especially in like Guild Wars 2 with like how nice the pet models look. That would be just like take almost like a Warhorn type thing. But come on, babies.
But that's quite obviously an elite skill if it's going to be anything.
It could be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there's absolutely no way.
Summon all the bears.
You can't have both of your pets out. I think your pet does something between 17 and 30% of your damage output. And having that extra on the field, complete with the less than fantastic AI that sometimes graces my cats, I mean, how would you do that? Would you just have an extra set of F keys to control functions on the other pet?
So we had this in Guild Wars 2 already.
We've got 12 of them, Alex.
For those who didn't play the very early betas and stuff, there were skills on Rangers. I think WP actually has footage of it on his channel somewhere now, but Rangers could summon more than one pet at a time. I think up to 3 pets. Those other pets didn't actually do anything special, though. They were placeholder kind of pets. So you had your main pet, which you could still control, and the other pets it summoned. It was kind of like when a wolf summons extra wolves to help it fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Wolves they fight, they do damage, they do DPS on some kind of basic level, but they didn't necessarily do their special abilities and such. And if that was the case, I don't know how exciting something like that would actually be. Like, it sounds cool to have 3 pets out at the same time or 2 pets out at the same time. It sounds really fun and it sounds exciting and
But
whatever.
that's about
but
where it ends. It's like
the other problem was, and I found this interesting with Scrapper as well. The whole reason that Spirit Ranger was nerfed into the ground and basically killed was because ArenaNet wanted less zoo builds.
Yeah.
So it was surprising to me when they gave gyros to Scrapper to create more zoo builds. I don't understand. I mean, yes, they're smaller. They take up less space. Perhaps they're less annoying or something than giant trees following you all around the battleground. But I don't think that they're going to add more pets for the simple fact that they don't want zoos running all over the place. They don't want them to be, 50 ranger pets out. As cool as that would be, because that would be pretty freaking cool. Someone's already saying like double and triple
50
bears. I
ranger
can only imagine that 50 bears running around the stupid
Right.
field. But
It's a shame because Petting Zoo was pretty cool in PvP. Petting Zoo was a great build in PvP. I loved it.
All right.
yeah, Lugo, I'm not saying that Spirit Ranger is... I misspoke. It's not dead, but it doesn't work the way it used to. It's very different in how it operates and works now. Spirits are still very effective in many ways.
But the main problem is with them that they no longer follow you.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
at least
more like
that's
turrets
my
in
issue
that
with
way.
it.
Still effective. Still very effective, but...
I would love actually if like the Druid specialization is sort of like actually focusing on the spirit aspect, just because like the lore aspect of the Druids, they become these spirit-like essences of the field, and like what we have for Rangers, that's kind of the closest thing to that aspect of it, and it would be kind of cool if it just kind of amplifies that relationship that the Druid has, and maybe creates new spirits you can summon and stuff, and ties it in with the staff and somehow. I'd be really on board with that, just because I really like the kind of magical aspect that could be coming in with the Druid. So in a ranger context, I'd be really excited for that.
Well, we're gonna find out either tomorrow or
Saturday.
Saturday.
think it's tomorrow.
Actually,
Isn't it?
is the Druid tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Saturday.
Yes, it is. It's actually the second thing on the list, and this is actually the next thing I want to do. I want to talk about is go through these lists. We actually have a breakdown of the programming that they're going to show at Twitchcon, and this is going to be all day, guys. This is going to be from 10 a.m. Pacific to 6 p.m. Pacific. They're going to have live on Twitch all this programming. It's going to be a full 2 days, like 8 hours each day of programming, and lots of information. Some of it repeat, a lot of it new, and each day they have a breakdown of 10 different topics that they're going to talk about. So I just want to kind of quickly go through these. So the first one for tomorrow is going to be starting out in Guild Wars 2. And I think that makes sense to be first because we've got a lot of new players, and so they just want to kind of start out the presentation with, welcoming new players and just, how to get started, really advertise that the base game is free to play. So that one makes sense. And then the second one is the first look at the Ranger Elite's profession specialization. So I don't know if there's going to be if they're going to do like a live points of interest, or if they have like another presentation planned, or
it's no longer called points of interest.
Oh, that's right.
It's called Guild Chat.
Guild Chat.
Guild Chat. That's right.
Yeah. They had a lot of they had a lot of names taken away from them already, so they had to pick one that wasn't taken.
We're currently in litigation proceedings about the name.
You guys can contact AuroraPeachy. She's willing to sell you the name GuildGab for a nominal fee.
That'd be awesome.
We'll rename this.
We'll be Guild
something
Chat.
else.
So yeah, it's probably going to be the very first Guild Chat. So that should be awesome. The next one it's just called musical performance.
Do you know,
That's my favorite band.
Sorry.
That's my favorite band.
Corvus is actually
Yes!
flying out tonight on a VIP jet to perform.
Corvus
at
Oh.
TwitchCon. Big announcement. We weren't really supposed to tell anybody.
Pretty
So
awesome.
Oh,
please don't
sorry.
tell
You
anybody.
spoiled it,
Yeah.
Corvus.
I'd love it if like McLean and
You're
Lena
so
came out
goddamn
and like
awesome.
conducted an orchestra.
Dude,
Oh,
dude.
man.
That'd be so cool. So
See, that's what it could be. It could be
I
like
don't.
a small
I don't see how they could
performance
put
of Heart of
musical
Thorns.
performance on there and have it not be a live orchestra.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Amazing.
I don't know.
has to be.
I definitely think it's going to involve McLean.
Yeah.
Like me and Matt had talked about this last night. I thought it was going to be some kind of band, and I'm like, who has a Guild Wars 2 band? Like WoW has their Office band, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, is there somebody like I know there's a lot of music creators in the Guild Wars 2 community, but I'm like, does anyone have a live actual band to be taken? And Matt's is like, no, it's just probably McLean doing going over the musical scores or something, or maybe like you said, a live performance of one of those musical
just
scores.
clean, showing us awesome
Yes.
music. No, no
You
big
know,
deal.
It's been amazing.
But
I
you know,
still
they
think
should like.
Miracle of Sound needs to do a Guild Wars 2 song. We've been waiting
That'd be
3
interesting.
years, man.
They should. They should contact the winner of the Tower of Nightmare music video competition because like wasn't like the winner like
Oh,
this guy
yeah.
who like actually made his
yeah.
Oh
badass.
yeah, that's all he does on his
He's
YouTube
a real-
channel is do covers
he's
of video
fantastic.
game and anime music. It's great.
They should get that guy out plus Corvus too.
Or get E-Rock out there as well.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
Bobby Stein is in a band, but I don't. It's
Oh.
not a Guild Wars 2 band.
Is he?
Yes.
Ah.
Cool. Farron's Ballad. Oh my
We
God.
did try to put a band together on Twitter. I think we had me, Corvus, Sharm, Jebro, and then we ran out of ideas because we needed drama.
You can
Oh,
you
man.
can just use a drum machine. You don't actually need a person for that anymore.
Who needs drummers
Aw.
anymore?
Drummers are the easiest members to get nowadays. There's even real drummers just sample all the drums anyway.
Actually, you know, Peachy, when you first said this musical performance, the first thing that came to mind, which is why I was giggling like a schoolgirl, was that I immediately thought of like some cheesy interpretive dance thing or something of just like 2 or 3 people like doing a really over
Like
the
a
top,
bad
like,
cosplay
thing in
performance.
tight, yeah, or something, just like a really bad.
They've got their wind like their streamers and they're doing like
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Oh,
It's like just
God.
like a stage with like 3 people and stuff. Yeah. To,
oh
that.
god,
Yeah. Which would be fantastic.
that'd be hilarious. Oh god.
These are
I've
the
been to
things
too
that go
many
in my
conventions and
mind.
seen too many bad cosplay performances to. Oh god, that'd be so
Yeah, that's
horrible.
fantastic.
No, my guess is that actually is going to be like some kind of live orchestral performance, which is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which would be amazing.
So the next one is A Taste of Tyria with Jennifer Hale.
If this is a rip-off of Cooking with Casimir,
You can contact me at aurorapeachy.gmail.com.
Right.
They're just copying Peachy nonstop.
It's going to be a lot more
All these
simplistic. You see,
lawsuits,
she has
man.
the Guild Wars 2 toaster. She's just going to make toast.
Yes, I'm guessing this is a pre-recorded thing because they've
it has
shown
to
a
be.
screenshot of this and it looked pre-recorded because she has the apron and the toaster. She's in a little kitchen, so this might just be something they pre-recorded. But what it could be and why, I don't. Is it just something funny?
Possibilities. Some people are throwing out there that this is going to be Cooking 500.
Right.
As much as I would love that, I don't think so,
That'd be
sadly. I think this is just going to be a
It's kind
fun
of
twist that, just like Bells and Missiles, they're going to record this every once in a while, and they're going to make real Tyrian recipes. Other people in the Guild Wars 2 community already do this. There's a whole
Yeah.
website thing
Yeah.
absolutely.
based
Ruby
on
was
like
show-
making tarragon bread and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Just
see them
ripping
picking
off
this up
our
for their
ideas, ArenaNet. No.
yeah. I could see them picking this up for like their ArenaNet TV thing, and it's a segment they
That's
run
what I was thinking.
every
Right.
That's what I
once
was
in a
thinking.
while.
It's kind of just like
Oh.
let's pick a TV show type and copy it somehow, and so they'll take a cooking show and just kind of turn it into a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Until
Though
Mirage
to
says
get your
take-
500 chef would be cool though.
Yeah.
Apparently that's coming, isn't it? 500 Chef.
Well, I don't know. Is it?
I don't
sended
know.
food or something? Like,
I
how's
think
this
I read
gonna
it.
work?
Someone told me something. I can't remember.
Someone lied to you.
Someone lied to me.
Someone hurt you.
Or it'd be funny if
Should be fun.
if Ruby came out dressed up as Casimir and just goes like, "This is a completely original ArenaNet idea." Cooking with cats.
So, I mean, what else have we got?
The next one is Adventures in Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns.
And we kind of
All
seen that
about
before,
adventures.
haven't we?
Oh, Adventures, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure. I was reading that very generically. Adventures in Guild Wars 2 Heart of
Yes.
Thorns.
Yeah.
Adventure, suspense.
Okay, so
Drama.
that makes sense. That's about adventures. Then the big one, the premiere of the Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns launch
Dun, dun,
trailer.
That's gonna be good. That's gonna
So,
be good.
Get your popcorn out for that.
I think this would be a pretty good time to mention the image that's come out on the Guild Wars 2 Twitter this afternoon, which is just
Indeed.
like a giant planty foot.
Yes, they teased another image. Foot.
Jurassic Park.
So for all of you who are into that kind of thing, it's your lucky day.
Giant feet tree thing.
Yeah.
Feet tree.
They get me hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
For anybody who hasn't seen it, there is the giant
man.
foot. That's the next teaser image. So they're
Why
showing.
is it a foot?
I don't.
It's not a
and
foot.
it
It's
could,
a hand. It's his claws.
It could be a foot. It
It's
could
a
be a
foot,
hand.
alright.
It could be the roots of a tree somehow growing out of rock. Whatever it is, we
grooming.
haven't seen it before. So this is
Yeah.
like confirmed definitely that we're gonna see some stuff we have not seen before. So
Yeah.
that's super exciting. Like possibly story stuff. Oh my god! Like that has me
Yeah,
more
good
excited
God.
than
That's-
anything else.
that's-
Jesus.
That's the thing
Oh my
I'm most
God.
excited for is
Oh my
is
God.
the
Yeah.
story.
Yes, please. Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying. Alright, so after the launch trailer, PvP discussion. So I'm guessing Stronghold and PvP leagues. Actually, probably
Yes.
more likely
Yes.
PvP leagues.
Yeah.
Some more details about that. And then World versus World discussion.
So that'd be the new Borderlands and that kind of thing.
Borderland map.
Borderlands. Yeah. Masteries. So maybe just kind of covering all the bases, everything that's coming with Heart of Thorns. So the covering the
Yep.
mastery system, because that is very huge. It's a very huge
Yeah.
part of what's coming in Heart of Thorns. So
Yeah. And it's... Oh, go on. Sorry, man.
So I think like all of these segments, we already know about adventures, we already know about masteries. I think there's going to be little bits of extra information. I hit my mic. I think there's little bits of extra information we're going to get in like all of these little segments. Like it's going to be a lot of more generic information that we already know, but I think there's going to be like a hidden gem or two in every single segment to kind of keep
agreed.
even veteran players, content creators, to keep us interested, to keep us watching, to find all those little news tidbits and stuff. I think there's going to be like little pieces of and you didn't know this about masteries, and then they'll introduce something,
Right, because we're at the point now where we're a month away from launch, and we need to know everything. There's nothing that they need to keep secret or keep for a reveal anymore. Like, we're done. Tell us everything at this point.
Yeah. We're so close.
So
We're
close.
so close.
So
It's
close.
crazy.
1 month. 1 month from
Finally.
yesterday.
So much to do.
Oh my god. Yes. The last one for tomorrow's presentation, they're going to end with a skill balance preview.
But this is going to be huge because not just elite specializations, which I don't know that we're going to hear a whole ton about changes there, but this is changes to like the core classes. Probably another nerf / buff to Ice Bow 4, and Elementalist will remain supreme. So, hype, maybe. No, I'm definitely excited to hear. I'm definitely excited to hear about how the changes are going to make. Ellie is going to get a nerf. Sorry, Ellie's. It's probably coming. Ice Bow needs a nerf. If it doesn't get it, I will be kind of shocked.
Well, it did get a nerf the last patch, didn't it?
Yes, they nerfed it really bad the last patch. So bad
Yeah.
that it's still a staple for every fight ever.
They nerfed it so bad that they accidentally buffed it.
Yo, It went around. It went so low that it went around and
They
went
nerfed
back
it
up
so
and
much
high.
it came back.
Came back wanting more.
The whole idea was to get Icebow 4 in line with the rest of the skills on the Icebow. So instead of reducing the damage that 4 does, they buffed 2 and 3. People, for God's sake. No.
Oh my goodness.
Not that I'm bitter about it or anything.
You're
and
not
at least,
bitter or
you know,
anything, right?
It's not bitter, you know. It just dominates structured PvP. I'm not bitter though, you know. It's fine.
Oh, so
You
that
play with your meta. I'll be in the corner having fun
By myself.
in my
if you
nomad.
have fun losing.
Losing
Nomads. Icebow is good, no need to change it. It's so good that it doesn't matter what class you play, just pick the Icebow up. You're good.
Warrior meta, Icebow.
Icebow is
Find
only
an
good in
elementalist,
PvP.
pick up its Icebow.
Do you know what? So I was playing through the Living Story with my girlfriend the other night, and I was doing it on my Ellie, and I was dropping Icebows everywhere. I was like, Hannah, just pick up the Icebow. Just pick up the Icebow.
No,
You pick up the Icebow. Got stuff
I don't
to do
want
tonight.
to. Pick up that Icebow, I swear. No.
I am excited to see all the changes that are coming to the classes. It's going to, I mean, the release of Heart of Thorns is going to shake up the meta in a little bit anyway. There's some more balancing that needs to be done. ArenaNet was actually really good for a while there. Every 2 weeks they were doing little bits of balance. So it doesn't surprise me we're going to see one final big pass to balance before Heart of Thorns goes live. And hopefully we'll get to test that in beta weekend 3. We can test all of that stuff, I hope.
That
so
would
that,
be
we
that
can
would be
give
nice.
some feedback.
Yeah.
I hope so, because then we've only got a couple of weeks till launch.
It's just crazy. To think we were back in January speculating about whether they were going to announce an expansion
It's
of
so
pack.
long, you guys. It's
And
been
now
it's been like
Been
8
a long
months.
road.
it's crazy.
Full 9
Absolutely
months of
insane.
birthing Heart of Thorns.
It's been rough. It's been a rough 9 months.
It's been a Heart of Thorns pregnancy. Get it out!
But we actually got some interesting stuff on the Saturday as well. So I know there's something a lot of the endgame PvE community are going to be interested in, which is the designing raids presentation that starts off the day. So I'm quite
Right,
interested to see that.
Yeah, that's the thing we kind of have the least information on, the least details on, since they just announced it. So I think they're going to go into a lot of detail there, hopefully,
Yeah.
about what we're going to get.
The making of sounds quite cool as well. Like of the trailer, is it? The launch trailer making of?
The making of the launch
that's not
trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see that's gonna be cool as hell.
what, like, it's not going to be some guy sitting at a computer editing. Like, it's like what went
That's what you're
into... Unless he's editing, like, CG, you know, you see the wireframe, Mordremoth's foot, or whatever that is, you know, you see the...
I could definitely see a lot. Like it definitely looks like we only seen 2 tiny little screenshots of the launch trailer, but there's a lot of original artwork in there and possibly CGI, and so for those who are interested in that sort of thing, and as content creators, I would say most of us probably qualify as interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That stuff's always extremely interesting and exciting to find out how other people do create that sort of thing. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
that to
yeah,
me
for
that's
sure.
extremely interesting.
Oh yeah. I've always loved the behind the scenes stuff of movies and everything else. So yeah, that's what it's like.
Someone said, what if it's a live action trailer? Oh god, I hope not.
God, not no.
Please, no.
Once was enough.
Please, no.
With puppets, I'm
That foot
Mortimer.
you're seeing, the foot or whatever that is for Mordremoth, is really just Josh. He's got his hand in his
molded.
glove and he's
He's molded.
Nice.
smashing rocks.
Ah, you made a
That'd be
puppet.
awesome.
Oh god.
It's gonna be like the old Godzilla films. It's just gonna be Josh.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just him with his two hands, and he's.
You see Mojomoth, it takes off the helmet, it's Josh and his crazy hair.
Right.
There is something that I'm very interested in, and this has been my big thing since it was announced, and this is the Legendary Journey.
Oh yes, because they're going to talk about that too.
So stoked to see how this how they're going to weave getting your precursor into the stories, because that's just so cool. Yeah, I'm super excited, and hopefully we'll see some new legendaries revealed during the stream as well, because we are due to get the
That's
first.
the
Is it the
question.
first
Are
3?
they're coming out with 3? They said that they're launching with 3 new legendaries, and we've had this discussion before. But do you think they're going to show them to us beforehand, or let us discover them in
I
game?
think maybe. I don't think. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm leaning towards that they are at least one of them, because that's something else that they can add to the list of things that are new with Heart of Thorns. And if they don't show us one, then it's just text on paper. If they show us a shiny new short bow or whatever, then that's something that they can, that's a graphic, that's a point that they can put up on the screen and say, buy Heart of Thorns, you must have the new pistol,
Right.
What weapons would you like to
there's
see as the
been
first one?
there's been some possible leaks.
Yeah, actually, I saw those.
So without going into too much detail about that, I think that if those are true, if they hold any kind of validity, that might force ArenaNet to say, okay, here's what it looks like, or confirm it at the very least.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, if you go looking for this yourself, we're not going to show it, but if you go looking for it yourself, it's not confirmed by anybody or anything, okay? It's very sort of controversial, this whole thing. So, I guess we'll see. We'll see on Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah.
What weapons would you like to see as the first legendaries in Heart of Thorns?
Warhorn. Very popular. Extremely
Focus. Yeah. I think staff would be a strong one, just because so many classes use staff now.
That's true. Would they do staff though? Like, again, is Bifrost one of the first ones that they would add to? That they would want to create an alternate
they would
to?
go
Because
for...
maybe not everybody wants a rainbow staff.
I think
but
me and Inks are about to say the same thing, aren't we?
I don't know.
What's that?
Raven staff.
Oh, the Raven
Oh.
staff.
Raven staff. Yeah,
That was
the Raven staff.
super old now. That was like, what, a year and a half?
been
Over a
long
year
time.
by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think it's going to be pistol, mace, and originally I thought short bow, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Just kind of replacing the silly weapons like Quip and,
Yeah.
Right. I would
And-
think short bow, but there's no new elite specs that are getting short bow. So it would be
That's
like
true.
I would think that they would choose the weapons that the elite specs are getting.
Also true.
Would think.
Well, nobody's
Eventually
getting
they're going to
mace
do them
or
all.
pistol either, so that leaves us
Right.
with a new staff,
That's
which I know
true.
that would make some people extremely happy.
Yeah.
Although I don't mind Bifrost myself, so
Staff,
what else is it?
shield?
Shield.
Torch.
Yeah, shield could be like that.
Longbow.
Showing off the shield.
Longbow.
Longbow could be quite a strong one, because like Kudzu's amazing,
Yeah.
but just not for everyone.
It's not definitely not
every
for
kind of
everyone.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus with Dragon Hunter and stuff.
Yeah. I could see
To be honest,
longbow.
even as a druid, I don't like Kudzu. It just leaves puddles of vomit everywhere you go.
Flowers. Vomit.
It's not for you, and that's fine.
You say flowers, I say
I want to
vomit.
know how you. Yeah, I want to know how you see the world, Alex, when you walk into the forest.
Look at this whole bed of vomit. It's disgusting. This lady's on her knees playing in vomit. Enough with this.
Happy anniversary.
Vomit everywhere.
I got you this vomit.
I made it this morning.
That's a quote.
Savaris are made from vomit. It's true.
Alex
Tune in
pukes
every
flowers.
week if
It's
you want to
official.
hear more vomit talk on GuildGab episode 53. We're going to talk nothing but about Savari vomit
Gab.
and
Vomit
gardening.
Gab.
I'm sure that was an attractive segment for the show.
Oh god.
Barf Gab.
If they ever ask for something, we'll send them the bit we did about vomit.
Yeah.
I tell you, one thing I would like to see though is a bit more of a revisit to some of the current legendaries. Our Flame Seeker still needs footsteps.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. There's a
And
few
maybe
of them
they'll-
that need a bit of a revamp.
Hopefully they'll talk about that, because I don't feel like such a dangerous thing to say, because I'm not a programmer. I don't feel like that's too much to add to go back to some of the
Oh.
legendaries that don't have these footfalls or whatever the case is, or they're not pronounced enough to go back and add like more of these things.
I mean, Howler's still broken. It doesn't have the day and night cycle thing anymore. Things like the minstrel, you hear a little jingle when you draw your weapons, but it's kind of hard to even see that you've got anything on. There's just a couple of them I think that need a little bit of a boost, and Flameseeker's definitely one of them. Just footsteps or something. Just make it cooler.
Gumby Two Step says no more particle effects, please.
Well, that's the thing, because a lot of
that's-
people.
Prepare yourself.
A legendary.
Yeah.
I kind of think you're missing the point of legendary.
That's what a legendary is. It's shiny.
Particles.
It's got stuff.
But I mean, a lot of people want, want to build a legendary, but just everything's kind of too much. A lot of people prefer that more traditional weapon design. If you know what I
Sure,
mean.
but they've got the
What,
Black Lion weapons for that.
What we
Yeah.
really
I mean,
should
look at
Trina.
have is a particle slider. This game needs a particle
Oh.
slider so badly. Even when you turn off like spell effects, it's still a blazing ball of light of spell effects on the monster, right? Please give me a particle slider. We need it.
Yeah, that'd be
And this way, if you don't want to see me as a giant light bulb running around Tyria, then you can just tune me down, and then I won't look that way to you.
yeah.
But for me,
gonna-
I'll still be a giant light bulb.
Yeah.
Well, because they have shown that they can do it, because the Sylvari Bioluminescence was a slider, and that's been in since launch. So they can adjust particular particle effects.
Right.
Whether they'll implement it or not is another thing.
Yeah.
Doubt it.
Did
The
you
thing is,
guys
as well,
see
this is
it?
only going to get worse once they add legendary armor.
I was just
The
about
armor,
to say that.
that's the thing. I can't see.
Because they said it would. There was that interview a few weeks back, which kind of lightly touched on legendary armor, talking about how it would be kind of just cool looking armor, but I think stuff or effects will happen when you go into combat. I think they said, and
Yeah, like it
but then
activates itself.
yeah,
Right,
but
right.
then like a lot of the kind of super flashy weapon stuff, I think they're gonna keep to weapons. So I don't really know what kind of effect, even if it's just like a light aura around you or something, that'd be fine. I think most of the big dramatic effects will just come from the weapons. You whirl and twilights fly everywhere. That's just gonna be kind of what weapons do. I don't think your legendary's gonna probably not even give you footsteps or anything. I just think when you go into
I want
combat,
them to make
it might-
special noises. Matter of fact, I want
Yeah,
a
that'd be
drum
cool.
backpack
Sound
skin, so I
effects
can be
and
one of those walking
Every step,
minstrels. Every step makes some crazy noise that just annoys people. That would be my character. That's why I built
Like,
Twitch, just to annoy people.
Yeah. To be fair, Gumby Two Step, in the very first open beta weekend, one of the big bits of feedback that I remember was that particle effects were just all over the place. It was
were
much
levels.
worse. It was insane, wasn't it?
Yeah, like you would hit a deer or something with fire, with burning, and it looked like a bonfire was happening on one animal running around. Like the flames were 50 feet high, and it's like, wow, that's something. That swirl is like a giant rolling fireball. It was crazy.
Mega Squirrel.
I wish I had footage of that because it was funny. That like
was-
you would hit something with burning, and it was like this bonfire with beer on them. It was crazy.
But then there were 30 of you, and it
Yeah.
and the computer stopped
goodness.
appreciating it.
Yeah. Well, couple other things that is scheduled for Saturday is story missions. So I would imagine they're going to give us a little more insight into like the mechanics of how they work. Of course, they're not going to like tell you the story, but maybe about like the different path choices. Maybe they'll go into a little bit more detail about how they're repeatable. Maybe if there's achievements associated with them. That's my guess.
I'd like it if
They're
they
gonna let us fail.
actually showed some clips of your characters speaking. Like not like a lot obviously, but they could just say, "Look, your characters are speaking again." They could just kind of
That could be part
a
of
little
it,
bit about
yeah.
that, you know.
I
Just
wouldn't
to,
be
like,
surprised
hear our
if we
characters
got
talking.
a tiny bit of spoiler in there somewhere. So just be forewarned that that's
They're-
a possibility.
yeah.
Yeah.
They might go slightly further into the story at this point.
I'm expecting a lot of Easter eggs and stuff in
Right.
the trailer as
Oh,
well
yeah.
for people to go through frame by frame that whole thing.
Yeah.
I think this weekend between this and the story missions, which even if they're just talking about a particular mission or a mechanic they use in a mission, like they might show us a glimpse, and I think there's going to be a lot of stuff for us to go through and analyze to try and build up. Like, oh, maybe this is going to happen. Maybe this is going to happen.
Right.
The story's kind of taken a back seat like for this entire year so far, and so now we're getting closer and they're talking to us about these things. I'm getting so excited to jump back in and just it's been so long.
I know. It has. They also have Heart of Thorns maps. So again,
That'd
this
be
is
cool.
kind of like the
Yes.
last hurrah before it launches. So I wonder if they're actually, and we know that there's 4 maps. They've told us that. So are they going to show us details of those maps? Maybe they're going to show us the entire layout finally, like the overhead view of the map of the Magoo Jungle, and maybe
that
show
would
us
be
exactly how far into the jungle we go, because this is it.
Maybe, yeah. That would be really interesting to see exactly how much area we're talking about here. I could definitely see them showing you, like, little snippets of different pieces of different maps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And definitely setting down a concrete confirmation. I mean, they have already, but, a more broadcasted, of these maps, how many there are, etc.
I really think that all this programming is meant to be like the selling point. Like, okay,
Right.
we're ready.
Yeah, I
it's
think
gonna
that's
launch.
it.
We have showed you all the features. So now they are really going to hardcore try and sell you Heart of Thorns. Anybody who's a disbeliever or who's been waiting, so actually showing us like, okay, this, showing us the amount of maps, the space it takes up, the layers of the map, the different biomes, really kind of solidifying that in people's minds now that it's pretty much complete, I think would be a very good idea.
Well, that's it. Like,
Sure.
if you look at these kind of things, they could have spread this stuff out over a few weeks. But I think they're wanting to do this. They kind of want to make it a big explosion of stuff. It catches people's attention. It feels like this huge thing, and it also stresses how much there is actually in the expansion. That whole thing too. And I think the last few weeks, it's just going to be them like just focusing, organizing, balancing, like just working as hard as they can. They probably don't really have time to do these kind of things, to do points of interest and plan out what, all this kind of stuff. So I think this is, like you said, like the last hurrah. This is going to be like just a big fireworks show, basically.
Yeah.
And with the launch trailer too, it would have been cool actually if they had the launch trailer right at the end. So like 2 days of stuff and
2
then
days
boom,
of
here's
stuff
the
and
trailer.
then the launch. Yeah.
That would have been cool. But like it everything combined here, like with all the information we're gonna get, and there's gonna be Easter eggs in the trailer. There's this is bound to be stuff that people are gonna notice and pick up on. This is it. We're in the last stretch.
In the final
like,
stretch.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna talk about for the next few weeks if they don't announce anything.
We're going to be too busy
Talk
playing
about
it.
all this hype, man.
We go, so go, you guys hyped because we're hyped.
Someone noticed Morgemoth's eyeball in this one frame, and so
I saw his nostril, man. I saw his nostril. Actually, I'm just like really kind of pumped about this because this is like reminding me of like a Guild Wars 2 version of BlizzCon. Only it's free, and it's just like I'm getting really excited about this because those things are so damn fun. And just as you're saying, like as a means to hype and get you into it, Like those like BlizzCon things are so much fun because you just have like kind of panel after each other. And so
Yeah.
doing it with Guild Wars
Yeah.
2, oh baby, this is gonna be good. Yeah. And
We
you know,
need our very own Guild Wars 2 con. That's a terrible.
Yeah, we
name.
do.
We need our very own
Yeah. Yes.
Tyria con or something.
Yes, GuildCon. That sounds
Guild
good.
Con.
Well, you were talking yesterday, Peachy, about the idea of you were asked to maybe do a festival over there.
Their
Right.
festival is trying to branch out and make it,
Yeah.
international.
Yeah.
So they were kind of asking around to see like who would be interested in kind of helping to make that happen. It's just kind of an idea in the air right now, but it would be amazing.
Do it.
Yes,
Do
it
it.
would.
'Cause that's like festival. I mean, ArenaNet like sends them stuff for prizes and swag and
They
everything.
support
Like
them.
it's totally supported. So
Yeah.
That's the closest thing at the moment.
That
to,
is the-
like,
yeah,
a
you're
Guild
right.
Wars 2 convention,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So,
The
Troll
doggies
is
did not
everywhere.
like that idea.
they're like,
No.
no, because we can't go. I'll dress them up as quackers.
oh, God. Peachy's puppies. Oh, it's like a stampede of ranger pets. You can just like demonstrate it live.
Can we have a biscuit mini pet, a chihuahua mini pet, please, in the game? I would really like that,
Biscuit mini pet would be pretty cool.
but I will not pay you 1,000 gems.
We've already had that debate, I think, haven't we?
Yes. Inks has a fantastic video, and he went on a fantastic rant about changes to the gem store. And
Watch
Black Lion chest, too.
Episode 51 and that video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to wrap up the live show here. We will continue to answer questions and talk about a couple more things in the post-show. If you're watching here live on Twitch, thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. As always, scroll down below and check out all of our Twitch and YouTube channels. There's a ton of links down there where you can find everybody's content, so go check everybody out, please. And tune in live on Twitch next week. Possibly might have a day change next week. Just keep an eye on Twitter, and we'll let you guys know if anything changes for GuildGab next week. But we will get one in one way or the other. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, guys. Take
Au
care.
revoir.